the next slide would be agenda item 5, or the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Why don't you be very brief, because you've been over this before, and Michelle is going to give us an update under her report.
Okay, good. I will be brief. Any household that is under 200% of the federal poverty level is eligible for a $30 stipend toward a broadband bill. I mean, you could pay it depending on which ISPs are participating. You could apply it to a cell phone, or you could apply it to your home internet connection. There is a established program for doing outreach, and we've shared this with the Mendocino County Office of Education. There are toolkits available on their website, and this is the content of their website, and links to those toolkits and resources in Spanish and English. Also, I've done outreach to the Head Start programs, as well as I've forgotten additional groups within the county. We've done modest outreach.
Senior centers.
Pardon, Philip?
Senior centers.
That's a good idea.
No, that was one of the ones you said you were going to be reaching out to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Hey, Jeff.
And so I will briefly say that since the last meeting, we've gone from 8% subscription in Mendocino County among eligible entities to more like 16%. And that's large. I mean, I can't take credit for that. It's probably what happens naturally.
Do you
Sorry,
know,
Deacon,
Jeff, do you know like roughly what 200% or below the federal poverty level is? And I mean, have you actually seen this thing play out as far as like, how do the people get the $30? And I mean, do you know any of the real specifics?
I have compared the list of providers that are participating with the list of providers in Mendocino County, and come up with maybe 6 different ISPs that are participating. I have Viasat, and Viasat has sent emails saying you may qualify for ACP. I don't actually know what 200% of federal poverty is. Somebody on the line might. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know.
Michelle, do you know? Michelle might know.
80,000.
Do you know, Michelle?
I don't have that specific information, but I can look it up while y'all are talking.
Okay.
That would be great. Please do. I suspect it's somewhere in $80,000 or $90,000 for a household income.
Okay.
And research shows that there are like 40 to 45% of Mendocino County should qualify. And there are a whole bunch of other metrics. 200% of federal poverty is the broadest, but if you're eligible for a Pell Grant or assisted free lunch programs, or a whole bunch of other metrics that would verify that you are eligible.
So one of the big hurdles is the 6. Is AT&T and Verizon and US Cellular, like Comcast? I mean,
yes.
Are any of these guys on the list?
I think those are about the 6 of them.
Okay. So it is providers people use. Okay, and they can use it towards a cell phone. That's helpful. Okay.
Yes. And so to keep it short, if there are any other questions on this, we'll revisit in a later point in the meeting. And so the next item on the agenda would be elected representatives and partners. Jez Anderson's email at the beginning of the meeting said that she would only be able to join later. And so, unless she's on the line and I didn't notice her jumping on, we'll move. I did have a lengthy conversation with Assemblymember Wood's expert on broadband, Will Tesconi, and he has a conflict at this time on an ongoing basis. So the first Friday of every third month he has some meeting, or the first Friday of every month he has some meeting, and wasn't able to make it. And I did reach out to Senator McGuire's office, left a phone message and an email. However, Trevor tends to defer to others on this on these issues. So the next in line would be Supervisor Williams, if he would care to make a comment.
Hey, Ted, are you there? Remember, he said he was double zooming. Let's go ahead and go to Michelle.
Yeah. Good idea.
All right, well, I was just looking, the poverty level does depend on the number of persons that are in the household. And so for one person, it's a little bit under 70,000. Two people, it would be 90,000. So if that helps with that question that you had earlier. Essentially, our schools have opened, and we are looking very much like we looked pre-pandemic. We don't have required masking anymore. We don't even have social distancing required. A lot of the annual or the weekly testing is now done by students at home, students and families at home. We're obviously still doing the requirement of testing unvaccinated staff weekly, and requiring that staff be vaccinated if they're not doing the testing program. To give an update on your broadband connectivity program that Jeff was just showing, we have distributed the media kits to schools, and they did have announcements that were in all of their back to school packets for families to be alerted to the program. One of the things that we have not done, or we could do a better job of, however, is using our own social media platforms to advertise the program. So I will be meeting with our social media expert, Brooke Gamble, who works for MCOE now, and making sure that we are plugging this program through MCOE, and then that'll allow the schools to be able to copy our social media posts easily and put them onto their social media accounts as well. And so I think once we do that next step, you'll really see the program take off.
Good.
So that's all I got.
Thank you, Michelle. That was nice.
We're only in our second week of school, so everything's very new still. So I don't know if John Schuster wants to add anything to what I've just mentioned. He's a little closer to the tech folks on the ground in the schools.
Yeah, so basically we're benefiting from, if you remember, it used to be called BIG grant, the Broadband Infrastructure Initiative grant, now called just Broadband Infrastructure grant. So we have two sites that we're actually doing the recon, and AT&T and Comcast combined we're getting gigabit fiber or 10 gigabit fiber to those sites. One is South Coast Continuation, also known as Point Arena, and Oar Creek here in Ukiah. So we're in the final stages of that. Hopefully they'll be lit within the next 2 months. So thanks to some of that funding coming through from the state and CNIC.
Nice to hear.